Hi everyone, Michelle here, and we are going to be making today these adorable little crochet mice. They've got cute little ears, little nose. You can see based upon how large my hands are, how tiny they are. They're very cute. Got a little corkscrew tail and little felt button eyes. They fit in with our fairy tale theme, little fairy tale mice like Hickory Dickory Dock, Three Blind Mice, the little mice that help Cinderella. And we've had a lot of people ask about creating amigurumi, which is what these are. It's creating like a little stuffed animal of sorts using nothing but a single crochet stitch done into a spiral. And that's what the tail is as well. It's just a series of chain stitches and then single crochet back. And then it kind of wants to do the little corkscrew on its own, but you can also give it a little twirl there and it will do it on its own as well. And then we've created, these are just like a flat disc, and you'll fold one end and then you sew the folded edge to the top of the mouse to make the little ears stand up really cute. So it's very simple. It's all single crochet. It's done in the round, series of increases and then some decreases that are done a little bit faster. So it is fairly simple, but there is a lot of shaping and a lot of counting, and then a lot of finish work to get everything placed just right. So if you think this is a little much for you, if you're looking for a very beginning crochet project that will use some of the same skills, I would also recommend, this is a free pattern on the Bernat website, B-E-R-N-A-T. It's called a crochet hanging basket. It is also just single crochets in a spiral. You make like a flat circle, doing steady increases each round to make the circle lie flat. And then you just do a series where you don't do any increases, and then that's what makes the sides. And then you do like a chain section, and then you attach the chain across. So you see right here, you've come around here, you've done a chain, you attach it here, and then you go around for a few more rows, and that creates the hanging loop. So this is also very simple, but it doesn't require any finish work, no stuffing, no having to sew pieces together, no having, to glue things on, but this uses all the same basic skills. And like I said, this is a free pattern on their website, and it creates these cute little hanging baskets that you can then hang on a nail on your wall. Here they show them with plants in them, but of course kids' toys could go in there, and it uses, I believe, one skein of the Bernat blanket yarn. So you can always print that out. You can come into the library and we can help you get on a computer to print it out as well. So I'm going to, when you come in, you will get a kit that will include the little felt button eyes, which I have here. You will have the gray yarn and the pink yarn and some fluff to fill your mouse. All right, you will need to have scissors, glue, a yarn needle to sew your project together, and a crochet hook. And this pattern calls for a size E crochet hook. Okay, that also translates to a 00. I believe, if you have the steel hooks, that's what this one is. So let's get started. All right, so let's begin. You'll see I forgot to print out the pattern, so I have it on my iPad here digitally that I'm going to be referring to. I know normally I have the paper pattern that I refer to and show you where we're at in the pattern, but I forgot to print one down before I came down here. I forgot to print one out before I came down here to record today. Nice. So we're going to start here at the nose, and you're going to start with your pink yarn. And the little nose is made with a circle that we're going to put in 6 single crochet stitches. So first of all, I'm going to make that circle. Basically, I wrap the yarn around my fingers. If you need to, you can also lay it down, create a circle like this, if that helps you visualize it. So you make the ring, and we're going to pull the yarn like up like in a little loop, okay? And think of this little loop that we've pulled up here as your beginning slip stitch. And you want to leave this little tail hanging out, because we're going to be making our series of single crochets around this circle. And then we're going to pull this string, and it will make the circle smaller, and it will bring those stitches around into like a little tight circle. So let me show you how that goes. So I'm going to put the loop in there, and I'm going to pull a stitch through, chain 1, I'm going to chain another one, and now I'm going to do the single crochets in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then you're going to pull this, and do you see it like cinching up? Okay, and we've created the little nose of the mouse. Okay, once we have the little nose of the mouse created, we remove the hook. We're going to make sure the loop's still there. I'm going to cut us a little tail. Okay. And now we're going to change over to the gray yarn. So I'm going to reinsert my hook, grab the gray yarn, and for the second round, now we're going to do a single crochet. And see, we don't join in the round with amigurumi. You just keep on going like in a spiral around. So I'm not gonna like slip stitch it to it. We're just going to keep going. So I'm gonna make sure to hold that tail, and I'm gonna do a single crochet. Okay, and then the instructions to say, make 2 single crochet in the following stitch. And then I'm going to make the second single crochet in that same stitch, then do a single crochet in this one, 2 single crochet in the next one. And when you make 2 single crochets into one stitch, that is called an increase. Now a single crochet, and we're just going to keep going around. Single crochet, 2 single crochets in one stitch, a single crochet, okay. And you've done that 3 times all the way around for a total of 9 stitches. So let's count. I'm not sure I made it all the way around. I lost track because I was talking. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So now we're on to row 3. So you're going to single crochet, and then do another increase in the 3rd stitch, which means we'll be doing 2 single crochets. And again, you can really see the spiral here because of us not joining the round. So you can see how I'm going to go into this next stitch. We're not slip stitching the end of the round together like you normally do in crochet. We just keep going, and round 3 is a single crochet, a single crochet, and then 2 single crochets into the 3rd stitch. And another thing that I should mention when you're doing amigurumi, because these are going to be, let me form it around my finger so you can see the little nose taking form. You want to make your stitches tight, because when we stuff it, you don't want to see that white stuffing showing through. So if you watch me, you can see that I'm working this at a very small gauge for the yarn, and that's why I'm using such a small needle, and my stitches look tight, and it's because you don't want that stuffing to show through or to come out. So let's see, where were we at? We were getting ready to do the 2 single crochets. 1, oops, I split my yarn, 1 and 2. And now we have to do that crochet increase, which means I'm going to do 2 crochets in this next stitch. 1 and 2. Repeat again. 2 normal single crochets in the next 2 stitches. And then in that 3rd stitch, we're going to do 2 stitches. And this gets repeated around 3 times for a total of 12 stitches in the round. You can use, if you're having trouble keeping track of where you are, you can always place a stitch marker at the beginning of the round. So that way you'll know when you come back to the stitch marker where you're at. And sorry, I had to take a quick break to get a drink. We're in one of the old storage rooms down here in the library, and it's a bit dusty. So now we're on round 4. So I'm just moving my pattern up on my screen there so I can see where we're at. So on round 4, you work 3 normal single crochet stitches, and then you do that crochet increase where we work 2 stitches into 1 stitch. Oh, and I was also going to place a stitch marker so you will see how we know when we come to the end of the round. So I'm going to put one right here, and you can see this is where my stitch is, my loop on my needle is coming out of. I'm going to go ahead and place a marker just right through that stitch at the base of it. And now we're going to work round 4, 3 single crochet stitches, and then a crochet increase, which is where we work 2 stitches into 1 stitch. There's 1, 2, oh, see, I have gone into my tail, so I've got to work that out. There we go. So let me count 1, 2, 3. That was my 3 regular ones. You see what I mean? You kind of get off. You have to keep track of your counts. It isn't the end of the world if you don't, because I mean, you're going to have, you know, if you have one stitch off a row, it is not a big deal at all. Nobody's going to know, only you. Now, if you're 10 stitches off in a row, you're going to have a wavy animal. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. So if you're a little bit off, no big deal. Let's see. Is that 1, 2, 3? No, that's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now the increase. Whoop. So that was my increase, 2 into the same stitch, and you can see there how it's a little more open, and you've got little four little strands of yarn, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we'll do 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now I've got to do my increase right here. Okay. 1. And you can see how tight I'm working. I could probably loosen up a little bit. You can see there's your little mouse nose coming right along. You can also see I've got like all these tails hanging from the back here. If they bug you, you can weave them in, of course, but it's not, you don't need to really do that because we are going to be stuffing, you know, the mouse, and this tails make nice little stuffing right there in that little nose. So I normally leave them. Working this first little bit can be difficult working around them. As you saw, I accidentally split in the yarn tail and got my hook caught on it. So let's go ahead and continue with round 5. And I'm going to put a stitch marker in this last stitch of the previous row so I know when I've worked my way back around. That way if I lose track while I'm talking to everybody, it won't take me much time to figure out where I'm at. So now on row 5, we work 4 single crochet stitches and then do the increase. And you should have 18 stitches at the end of the round if you want to count. Whoops. As you can see, I am not the best crocheter. I normally, knitting is my preferred hobby, but amigurumi is just so cute. I have been working on stuffed animals for people for Christmas this year. But I am a rather clumsy crocheter. Whoop. All right, so you can see it coming along, And if you've been paying attention, you saw where we did, for each time we are increasing by 1 the number of regular single crochets each round. So this round we did 4 single crochets and then an increase. Round 6 we'll do 5 single crochets, then an increase. Round 7 would be 6 single crochets and then an increase. And then 8 and 9 are done the same way. So I'm going to do a few of these increase rounds off screen to speed up the video a little bit. And then we'll be back on round 9 when I come back. Okay, I just completed working round 8. And you can see where we're at on the mousey. So we're getting ready to work 9, which is the last increase row. And then you're going to have a few rows 10 through 15, that are all going to be just simply working a single crochet in each stitch all the way around for 5 rows. And then after that, we will start the decrease round, which you can see there's only a few there because it decreases very quickly to close off the end of the mouse. So let's do this last increase row together. Row 9 is where we work 8 single crochets and then do an increase. Oops. Uh-oh. There we go. And that was my increase. Now I'm going to work 8 more. Okay, another increase, and then we're doing the last 8. Oops, I split the yarn. Let me fix that. The yarn split a bit on me there. This is the last stitch, so it's going to be that last increase. Okay. And now so when you count the rounds, this one is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So those are the 9 rows. And now we've got to work 5 rows just of plain single crochet. So to make it easier to count those 5 rows, I'm going to place the stitch marker like around the legs of the single crochet right here, the last part worked, because I know that this is row number 9. This is row 1, this is row number 9, so we need 5 more rows of the gray just in plain single crochet all the way around. So you're going to single crochet each stitch. And that corresponds. So this is kind of easy because you're not going to have to do that count and then an increase. You just keep going periodically. And where we have that stitch marker in, you're going to count for when you have your 5 rows done. You can see them here on this mouse because this is row 1 for the pink little nose, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So right here is row 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And then we start these decreases. So this is the part of the mousey that we're on right now. So we're really close to being done with the gray part. So I'm going to keep working my 5 rounds of single crochet, and I will come back when I have those done, and we will begin the decreases. Okay, I'm back. We've done the 5 rows that are just the straight single crochet in each single crochet around. So there's row 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and we're back at the beginning. So I can take this stitch marker out, and you can see where we're at on the mousey right here. So we are ready for the following decrease rounds. There's only 3 more rounds to go for the mouse body, so we are almost done. So for round 16, we're going to do 2 single crochets and then do a decrease. Let me put my stitch marker back in so I can see that last stitch of the previous round. And let's see a decrease. So we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1, oops, I split the yarn, 1 and 2. And then a single crochet decrease is where we go through the next stitch, pull up a loop, go through the next stitch along the row, pull up a loop, and now we're going to yarn over and pull it through all 3. And we've decreased these 2 stitches down to 1 up here at the top. So let's do that again. Single crochet, single crochet, decrease. I'm going to pull up the loop, yarn over, and go through all 3 loops. And there's single crochet, half single crochet there, and then it's down to 1 stitch up here on the top. So let's keep going all through the round, and we will have decreased at the end of this round from the 30 stitches we had down to 18, I believe. As I said, I don't have the pattern in front of me. It's on my iPad. I don't want to look away. Now I've see what happens. I talked and I lost where I was at. Okay. So there's a decrease. There's 1, 2, do a decrease. 1, 2, loop, loop, and decrease. And I will say, see, my yarn keeps splitting on me here. So one of the difficulties with the decreases is when you're working the decreases and you're working something like amigurumi, in which you want it to be tight, the decreases can wind up creating, because see you've got this elongated stitch at the top right here, and so it can create a little bit of a hole. So that's why it's really important to work those decreases kind of as tight as you can. And pull up a loop, pull up a loop. There we go. Single crochet, single crochet, and now we're going to do the decrease. Single crochet, and we're at the end. And there we go. So now we're ready for the next one. Row 17 is where we're going to do a single crochet and then a decrease. So you're only going to work one stitch and then work the decrease all the way around. And you can already see it's starting to close. I'll show you again after we get this row done. You'll see it kind of curving shut at the end here. Work one stitch and then a decrease. Hope you can see how it's starting to curve down now. You can start to see the hole closing. We've got one more decrease round to go, and that's where we're going to decrease all the way around with no single crochets in between them. I'm going to go ahead and place a marker there, and let's go. Whoops. I don't know if you heard that, but I think I broke a couple strands of the yarn. Again, I'm trying to, so you can see me tugging on the yarn strand periodically. I'm working it kind of as tight as I can get it. You want a pretty dense fabric. Oops. Right there. 1, 2. Okay. Okay. Now we are at the end. We're doing the last one. Okay. And now we've got to stuff the body so it's very firm, and so I don't lose this stitch here. I'm going to take the stitch marker that I've been using to mark my beginning of the rounds and I'm going to slide it in to hold that loop while I stuff the mouse. Okay. Oop, do not, my little eyes were stuck to the fuzz. So you want to kind of poke the stuffing in there. Okay. You can use your crochet hook. Pull up on the thread here. I forgot to bring, I've got like a little skinny dowel or a pencil. It's also good. Making sure I get it all the way down in there in that nose, right in the tip of that nose. You want to be sure to stuff it in there pretty firm. If you have problems with this part, again, use a pencil, use smaller bits of the fiber if you need to. And now you see why I wanted the stitch marker in there to hold that loop. You can also use, if you don't have a stitch marker like this, you can also use a paper clip. Safety pin would also work. Okay. And making sure I get that stuffing down in there good. Whoops. You can see here some of the fiber has wrapped around the yarn. Okay. I'm using this to just kind of stuff down in there. Okay, add a little more. Poke it over to each side. You want to make sure, because see, otherwise, see how like I've got it down in here, but now you want to be sure that you have really fluffed out this last end bit. A little bit more in there. Okay. You can also take your mouse and roll it to help shape it. If you'd like it to be a little more squat, so you can push it in this way. You can roll it out a little bit if you'd like it to be a little bit more elongated. So this is where you're going to determine, you know, kind of like the final shape of your little mouse. So once you have it all stuffed, I don't think I can get any more stuffing in there. We're ready to move on, and we're going to make the tail. And to make the tail, we're going to chain 15. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then the second chain from the hook, you're going to go in and see, I like to do, when you turn over the back of the chain, you can see these little bumps. I like to go through the bumps but we're going to do a single crochet in each one all the way back down. And you can also do 2 single crochets in some of these, or do 2 single crochets in each one all the way down if you want the tail to be a tighter corkscrew. Someone that works here said that you can make the whole thing in pink and do a tight corkscrew tail and make this look like a little pig. You can do pointy ears and make it look like a dog. There's like lots of different things that you can do to change this from a mouse into another animal. You can make like a rooster comb for the top of the head. You can add embroidered stripes and pointy ears to make it into a cat. So now that you have the basic pattern, you can adjust it, you know, in the color, in embroidery, any way that you want to make it, oops, into whatever animal that you so choose. And we are almost back at the base. I've got like 2 more to do. Let's get back here. And you can see the little tail is already starting to curve all on its own without me having to do anything. Doing that last single crochet, I'm going to leave a nice size tail because we're going to use that tail to sew up the base of the mouse. Use your yarn needle and you're going to go through these stitches. Now do you see it, like this one right here, do you see how open it is? If I pulled it from here, I'm just making this other hole bigger. So I'm going to choose a different hole there. So, and we want to try to not grab any of the fiber and pull it out. So sticking your finger in there in between the crochet fabric and the fiber fill can help. See, when you start to pull, you'll see it start to close up. Yeah, I like to go around a couple times. And then here at the base of the tail, I'm going to make a loop, go through the loop, and then you can bury your yarn tail in here, or if you see, like, see here, there's a couple that are a little bit big, so I'm going to go through, we're going to tighten those up a little bit. Oop. Okay, I accidentally pulled my tail out of the yarn needle. You can hear how tight the yarn is. You hear it squeaking. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to take it and I'm going to bury the yarn inside the mouse. I'm going to pull a little. See how you can watch the base. You see how I pull it up a little bit there. And I'm going to do that so when I snap it and then I release that pressure on the mouse, the yarn tail is buried inside. And remember, we have buried all of the tails from here are still stuffed inside the nose. So now you get to look at your mouse and you get to decide which side is up, like where the eyes are gonna go, where the ears are gonna go. And now we're gonna make the ears real quick. Sorry, I had to find my place in the pattern for the ears. We're going to make a ring just like we did for the little nose. And the ears are gonna start just about the same way as the nose did. So we've made that ring. We're gonna pull the yarn up in the center here. I'm gonna be sure that you can see this. So I've made a loop, taken the yarn under the loop, pulled up the loop, okay? And I'm gonna use that as your beginning slip stitch that you would normally use on crochet. And I'm gonna go ahead and chain one. Okay, I'm gonna chain another one. All right, because this part disappears really easily. When we pull this tail, this circle will close and it will cinch up those beginning stitches. So we're gonna chain 6 in the center hole. One. I just had my yarn slide on me. There we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to pull the tail now. Okay, and you see it just closed right up. And now you're going to work 2 single crochets in each stitch around to make 12 stitches. You see my eyes are starting to move. There we go. So I'm going to pull a little bit tighter on the center tail. You will see here's your little ear. Okay, so we're going to snip the yarn. And I'm going to pull it through I've got a big tail here for sewing it on, left over from the magic ring we made. So what we're gonna do is you're going to fold the little ear kind of in half, and you're gonna sew it together like at the base, and it's gonna form like a little ear taco. And you're gonna sew it together here on this one end. And what happens, that's the end that we sew to the top of the mousy head, and it forms these little upright little ears that'll stay upright. So I'm gonna make a second one of these, and I'll be right back. Okay, I have two little mousy ears, and we're going to sew them together now at the base. There's that one. For this one, since I'm using this long tail from the magic ring, gotta get it down to the bottom. Now we're gonna fold it over. I'm gonna go through. Go. Making sure I'm pulling it tight. There's your other little ear. Okay. And we're now going to assemble the little mousy. So now I'm going to pick, you can see like the little tail is like up here on the top here. So I think I like having the tail riding high on my little guy. So the eyes are going to be placed approximately 6 rows back from the nose and evenly spaced. So now you can always embroider these or use the little safety eyes, but included in your kit are going to be a couple little felt circles that you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on these guys. Let that sit for a second. Having problems getting the glue cap back on. Okay. And now we're going to determine where we're going to place them. So about 6 rows back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's right about here, and evenly spaced. I really like how they're spaced on my little guy here. They're about 1, 2, 3, 4 apart. So if I look at my little guy, and I'm like, right there is where I want the top to be. This probably would have been helpful if I would have brought tweezers down with me. So let's place a little eye. Let's go 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I want the other little eye to be right about there where my thumb is at. Gonna press those on. Okay. And then the ears are going to go approximately, see there's 1 row in between the eye and the ear. So the ears are sewn 2 rows back. So there's one. Yours should go right about here, directly behind each eye. So I'm going to hold it there. Let's see here. Maybe easier to put this little guy. Let's see if we can flatten off. I'm going to try to see how this has got like this little knobby right here. I'm going to try to flatten that off by pulling this up like this. There we go. See how that made a nice flatter edge? And I'm going to go ahead and take this in. Let's go ahead and put this in, bury it down into the mousey. See if I can get that in a good spot. Not quite. I need to do it just a little bit further over. The finishing is the part that you need to take the most time on. Getting it just right, everything positioned right, because that will determine, you know, whether or not you like the look of your finished product. A lot of things can be fixed in the finishing. So you want to take your time on this part. Okay. So before I actually sew anything down, I want to be sure I like the position of the ear. Okay. You can also use some of these to try to pin them on. Use straight pins to pin them on. You have to imagine what it's going to look like without the yarn tails hanging there. I think I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and sew it on right there. So now I'm going to go through on this side. Let me see if you can see this. I'm going to go through the mouse, go all the way around a crochet, single crochet stitch. I'm going to go through the ear. I'm going to go into the work. I'm going to come back up into the ear at the bottom there. Pull it through. Pull my two ends, make sure the ear is standing up and looks good. Okay. I'm going to check it on the back. All right, I'm going to go through, I think I'm going to come up right there. I'm going to do another stitch back here behind the ear. Right back in here. See if I can go into that ear. If I can catch one of these edge stitches. This is one of the things when you work really tight. I don't know if you can hear how tight that is. There we go. You can actually hear the yarn squeak. Okay. So now I'm going to fasten it off. Make a loop. I'm going to go through that loop. Pull it down tight. Okay. Make sure you still like it before you fasten it off, because now I'm going to bury these ends inside the mouse and clip them off. And these are just decorative, cute little animals. I would not recommend them for like toddlers, because of course, you know, the ears or the eyes can come off. anything that could be a choking hazard. Okay. You could always try to put a little bit of catnip in with the stuffing if you want for your kitty. So we're going to do the same thing for the second ear, and I will be right back to show you the finished mouse. Hi. So we're back again. I finished sewing on the second ear. You can see you can open the ears more if you like them. It's one of the nice things when you do the crochet that tightly, then it becomes positionable and not floppy. So you can curve the ear in if you like a more cupped ear, and it will stay that way. Or you can open them up and they'll stay that way. And in this way, your crochet can become a sculptural element. And there's your little mouse. You can see from the top, this curly little tail.